You cannot capture a man's entire life in 2 hours. All you can hope is to leave the impression of one.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things Mank got factually right and wrong.
Herman sponsored my family's entry into this country. He's responsible for us getting safely out of Germany, legally and financially.
Her husband is one of our bold lads in the RAF. Flies, what is it, Rita, Spitfires?
Hurricane.
How come he shares credit?
Well, that, my friend, is the magic of the movies.
For this list, we're looking at what's fact and what's fiction in this Netflix biopic about screenwriter Herman J. Mankiewicz. How do you think Mank measured up to Citizen Kane? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. One of Welles's outbursts inspired a scene. Right. Towards the film's conclusion, Orson Welles is infuriated to learn that Mankiewicz wants credit for co-writing Citizen Kane, despite their previous agreement.
You may never work in this town again, Mank.
Orson, please.
Although Welles ultimately relents, he's prompted to angrily throw a box across the room.
No doubt you'll get your credit, but ask yourself, who's producing this picture, directing it, starring in it?
This, in turn, inspires Mankiewicz to contribute a scene where Susan Alexander leaves Charles Foster Kane and he starts tearing her bedroom apart. While that sounds too dramatically convenient to be true, this crucial scene did indeed stem from Welles's short temper, although not under the same circumstances seen here. According to John Houseman, who collaborated with Welles on several projects, the scene was inspired by a confrontation where Welles threw flaming sterno cans at him. Despite the change, you can see why Welles was tailored to play Kane.
Maybe.
Number 9. Mank's election bet. Wrong.
You really will bet on anything. Keep your money.
Mankiewicz was notorious for making outrageous bets, which we'll discuss in greater detail later. So it wouldn't be that far-fetched to think that he actually bet Louis B. Mayer and Irving Thalberg that Democratic Party nominee Upton Sinclair would upset incumbent Frank Merriam in the race for governor of California. Making the wager even more extravagant, Mankiewicz doubles a debt that had been forgiven, putting $24,000 on the line.
I'll take that bet.
Okay, Mank, you're on. 24 grand or nothing.
While this sounds on brand for Mankiewicz, there's no evidence showing that he placed this bet or that he even supported Sinclair. Nevertheless, the scene does capture Hollywood's political climate in 1934 and the general enmity towards the former socialist.
It's a team effort. Thanks.
It also touches upon Mankiewicz's outspoken nature and his difficult yet enduring marriage to poor Sarah.
Excuse me? I'm going to throw up.
Number 8. Mank saved his housekeeper's village from fascism. Wrong. Mankiewicz's nurse/housekeeper Fräulein Frieda explains that she puts up with her employer's excessive drinking because he got her village, her family, and herself out of Germany.
Herman sponsored my family's entry into this country. He's responsible for us getting safely out of Germany, legally and financially.
She claims that Mankiewicz saved nearly 100 people from Nazi tyranny, which is true and false. Mankiewicz didn't sponsor his nurse's village as the movie suggests. However, Mankiewicz, himself the son of German Jewish immigrants, did help Jewish refugees escape from Europe and find work in the US. He also wrote an unfilmed 1933 script entitled The Mad Dog of Europe, warning of Hitler's inevitable actions. According to the biography Mank, The Wit, World, and Life of Herman Mankiewicz, quote, Herman became the official sponsor for hundreds of German refugees and took responsibility for total strangers fleeing to America.
Mankberg. Prosit.
Mankind. Bottoms up.
Number 7. Mank's addictions. Right. As mentioned before, Mankiewicz was a compulsive gambler.
Damn it! All right. Double or nothing, and this time you banjo-eyed son of a bitch.
While the filmmakers took liberties with the election bet, Mankiewicz did lose a significant sum over a coin toss. $1,000 to be precise. What the filmmakers and Gary Oldman really get down, however, is Mankiewicz's alcoholism.
What's everyone else having?
In addition to taking a toll on his marriage, friendships, and professional life, the bottle would sadly lead to his ultimate demise.
I'm washed up, Joe. Have been for years.
Mankiewicz's years of heavy drinking caught up to him on March 5, 1953, about 12 years after Citizen Kane was released. The famed screenwriter died from uremic poisoning at the age of 55. According to biographer Scott Eyman, Mankiewicz compared himself to, quote, a rat in a trap of his own construction, a decade before succumbing to his alcoholism. Number 6. Mank's contract and screen credit. Right.
You're not going to like this, Orson. I want credit.
While the film takes a clear stance, it's still debated who was mainly responsible for writing the Oscar-winning screenplay for Citizen Kane. Had Mankiewicz given an acceptance speech, he claims he would have remarked, quote, I am very happy to accept this award in Mr. Wells's absence, because the script was written in Mr. Wells's absence.
How's that?
How come he shares credit?
Well, that, my friend, is the magic of the movies.
Wells, who didn't attend the Oscars either, stated, quote, I used what I wanted of Manx, and rightly or wrongly, kept what I liked of my own. In any case, 3 things are for sure. Mankiewicz initially signed a contract foregoing credit. Mankiewicz later decided that he wanted credit, leading to an argument with Wells.
Then you force me to remind you. We have a contract that you understood and agreed to.
Mankiewicz won the argument, but was still largely overshadowed by the film's director, star, producer, and co-screenwriter. Number 5. Marion Davies' Portrayal. Right.
Know you.
Well, what's at stake here?
The film's depiction of Marion Davies is mostly dead on, as is Amanda Seyfried's witty performance. The longtime mistress of William Randolph Hearst, Davies did form a friendship with Mankiewicz, although it's debatable exactly how close they were. The scene where she tries to persuade him not to release Citizen Kane, for example, is purely fictional.
Am I persuading you at all?
I hope, if this gets made, you'll forgive me.
And I hope, if it doesn't, you'll forgive me.
Like Mankiewicz, though, Davies also struggled with alcoholism, which created a mutual bond. Whether intentional or not, it's widely believed that Davies served as the inspiration for Susan Alexander Kane.
I see. It's you that this is being done to. It's not me at all.
Whereas Susan had little to no talent, however, Davies was an accomplished actress, comedian, writer, and producer. Davies might have achieved even more had she been cast as Marie Antoinette, a role that ultimately went to Irving Thalberg's wife, Norma Shearer.
Marion would have made it her own.
Marion would have been perfection.
Marion Antoinette.
It was Irving's picture. It takes kind of
Marionette.
patience to make
Number 4. Mank's condition while writing Citizen Kane. Right. Throughout the film, Mankiewicz is seen in bed with a broken leg and a looming deadline to finish his first draft.
You've only written 90 pages.
91.
And in my expert opinion, you're hardly out of the first act. I mean, how do you hope to be done in 13 days?
This framing device paints an accurate portrait of Mankiewicz's conditions as he devised his greatest work. In September 1939, Mankiewicz shattered his leg in a car accident.
You read it. See what I mean.
Recouping in the hospital, Mankiewicz was paid a visit from Wells, who offered him a gig writing for the Campbell Playhouse.
I think it's time we talked.
I'm all ears.
The two eventually decided to collaborate on the project that would become Citizen Kane. In 1940, Mankiewicz started working on the screenplay at a ranch in Victorville, California, where alcohol was not permitted.
Slim, you may tote those lovely Highland beauties to the kitchen. Fräulein Frieda, empty the Mickeys and start replacing their contents. Rasch schnell.
During this period, Mankiewicz was aided by producer John Houseman and secretary Rita Alexander, who inspired Susan Alexander's name. Number 3. Mank's drunken pitch. Wrong.
Hello, everyone. Better late than ever.
In a powerhouse scene, a drunken Mankiewicz goes on a tirade at William Randolph Hearst's castle. Taking shots at Hearst, Louis B. Mayer, and the other guests, Mankiewicz essentially pitches the idea for Citizen Kane.
It's a modern-day version of Quixote.
It's true that Mankiewicz was a regular at Hearst's parties. Hearst liked listening to Mankiewicz's witticisms, although he was no longer welcome after attempting to get Davies drunk. It's also true that Mankiewicz once vomited at a dinner party, prompting his white wine and fish remark, although this happened at producer Arthur Hornblow Jr.'s residence.
Don't worry, folks. The white wine came up with the fish.
As for Mankiewicz's impassioned Don Quixote speech seen in the film, It certainly provides an Oscar-worthy acting showcase for Oldman, but there's no record of this incident actually happening. Number 2. Upton Sinclair Inspired Mank. Wrong. Politics might have played a key role in Citizen Kane, but Upton Sinclair wasn't a major source of inspiration as Mank suggests. While Thalberg was behind a smear campaign against Sinclair, Mankiewicz's comments didn't inadvertently inspire these bogus newsreels.
You don't think anyone old enough to vote's gonna buy this shit?
Only the ones who believe King Kong's 10 stories tall or Mary Pickford a virgin, not 40.
Therefore, Mankiewicz never approached Davies about getting the newsreels pulled. The timing here is also off, as Davies wouldn't make her exit from MGM until after the election. It's true that Mankiewicz donated to Merriam's campaign, although he wasn't necessarily pressured into doing so. Mankiewicz's friend Shelley Metcalf, who makes propaganda films for Merriam despite supporting Sinclair, is fictional as well.
Look at what we did. We can't unring this bell.
This character is loosely inspired by director Felix E. Feist, although he didn't suffer from Parkinson's disease or take his own life.
First you get the tremors, then your muscles begin to fail. Pretty soon you can't get out of a chair.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are some honorable mentions. MGM Cut Salaries. Right. Not even the Hollywood elite were safe from the Great Depression.
I am asking everyone in the MGM family to take a painful step. I am asking to roll back salaries.
Rita Alexander's husband was an RAF pilot. Wrong. Her husband was a European refugee who had recently arrived in the US.
Her husband is one of our bold lads in the RAF. Flies, what is it, Rita, Spitfires?
Hurricanes.
My sympathy and prayers.
Mank's animosity towards The Wizard of Oz. Right. Mankiewicz was a writer on the 1939 classic, although he wasn't credited.
The Wizard of Oz is gonna sink that studio.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. William Randolph Hearst equals Charles Foster Kane. Right. While Joseph Pulitzer, Samuel Insull, and Harold McCormick also served as inspiration, William Randolph Hearst shared the most parallels with Mr. Kane.
There's a golden age coming when all the world will be a stage. And you, perhaps, there's Shakespeare.
Both men were newspaper publishers whose wealth was only matched by their power and influence. Thus, when Hearst caught wind of Citizen Kane, he used all of the tools at his disposal to bury the film.
Our Quixote looks into the mirror of his youth and decides to break this glass, a maddening reminder of who he once was.
Not only did he ban any mention of the film from his papers, but members of his inner circle also targeted Wells. Louis B. Mayer and a few other bigwigs unsuccessfully tried paying RKO Pictures to destroy the film.
And every time I do decide to dance, every time, he must play.
Despite Hearst's efforts, Citizen Kane was a modest box office success, won an Oscar, and is today recognized by many outlets as the greatest film of all time. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.